My first video got interrupted. So the video that I posted earlier today, YouTube would not allow me to post it. They rejected it. And it was probably because of the things I was saying in that video. So I have created a Patreon account. I will post the link of my Patreon in the video description box. So some videos that I will be posting over there on Patreon because I'm going to be dropping some shit on, just some real shit. And I'm not going to be putting that on YouTube because YouTube is getting really strict and they're becoming very, 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 very bitchy about what you can post. And that last video that I did, it was more about the fake facade energy. And I was naming names in that video, and that probably got it rejected. There were some names I named in that video that got it probably rejected. Okay. So I'm going to I put that video over on Patreon, and I will and on Patreon, you got to pay to listen. So I will drop the link to my Patreon in the video description box for anyone who wants to go over there and listen to it or whatever the case may be. And I will put videos from time to time on Patreon, and I'll let you know which videos I will put on Patreon. Excuse me, I'm not really sure how Patreon works, but I've linked this account with my Patreon account. So maybe the videos I do on this account will automatically go over to Patreon, and you just pay the fee or whatever the case may be. It's not even about the money because I don't need no damn money. Okay, I ain't about no money, but it's just that it's the principle. If I can make more money, I'm going to do it. But it ain't really about the money. But anyway, I just wanted to say that first. I have an account on Patreon, and I will post videos over on Patreon every now and then, and I will post the link of my Patreon in the video description box. Now, I want to talk about this. An article came out today about a little boy, two little boys. One was black and one was white. The little white boy is autistic, and he was having some issues. His first day at school in the second grade, I think, or something like that. I really didn't read the entire article because I'm looking at it from an occult view. So as I'm looking at the picture and I'm picking up the energy and the vibe, I'm just scoping shit out. The picture is of the little black boy holding the little white boy's hand and guiding him into the school, being a support to him because the little white boy is holding his head down crying, on his, first day in second grade or something like that. And the little black boy reaches over and holds his hand and escorts him into the school. Now, before I go any further, let me say this. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Children are not, um, children don't understand, and they don't really, how can I put this? Children, I'm trying to say it in a way that would make sense, but sometimes, I'm going to say sometimes, I'm not going to apply this to all children, but some children are not privy to race, meaning that they don't see color or race or creed or ethnicity. They don't see that. White people teach their children to fear black people. They teach their children to hate. They teach their children to kill. That is what white people do. Black children are not raised to hate white people. I wasn't taught that in my home. We didn't even talk about white people in my home. But that is what white people teach in their homes. Those are facts. And I don't give a fuck who gets offended by it. It's just as simple as that. Now, of course, I'm not talking, let me just say this, I'm not talking about all white people, of course, but those people it fucking applies to. So with that being said, I find it interesting that they are parading this picture around of these two little boys holding hands. One black, one white. And I know people are going to say, well, Sia Grant, what's the problem with that? I'll tell you what the problem of the matter is. I'll tell you. Again, it's nothing wrong with it. But remember, I'm the occult view, and I'm looking at it from an occult aspect, from an occult perspective, and the symbolism behind that particular picture. And I will put the link of that article in the video description box as well. And here's my issue with it. And it's not even my issue. I'm just saying that for the sake of, making the video. Here's my issue. In the Black community, we are taught from an early age up as boys that there are certain ways that boys are supposed to act. There are certain things that boys are not supposed to do. And holding hands with other boys is absolutely forbidden in the Black community for the most part. Now, some people may look at it as innocent, but especially if you are raised in a very religious family, that is looked at as homosexuality. So, my thing is this: why is it okay for a little black boy to hold a little white boy's hand in an innocent manner, of course? Why is that okay? But if that were a little black boy that he was whose hand he was holding, there would have been an uproar online. Oh, it's homosexuality. It's the gay agenda. It's this, it's that, it's this, it's that. Because that's how perverted the minds of black people have become. That's how dysfunctional. And that's all of the spells and mind control that we are up under as black people. It's okay that he's holding a little white boy's hand. That's cute. And that's something for people to, take pictures of. And it's even big enough to make it on the Yahoo front news page. But if that were two little black boys, how would you motherfucking niggas be reacting? Is my question. Because I know how they would react. I remember years ago, story time, years ago when I was living with my aunt. Me and my childhood friend, we were in her rec room, and there were poles in her rec room, and we were just swinging around the poles. We were, like kids do, swinging around the poles. After my childhood friend and his mother left, my aunt berated me to the white meat, and I was only like 11 or 12 years old. She called me gay slurs, said that I was acting like the F word. And we were only swinging around the poles. We weren't doing anything that was considered provocative. We weren't touching each other. We weren't holding hands. We were just swinging around the poles, having fun. And she took an issue with that. So my point is this: why is it okay for that little black boy to hold that white boy's hands? But would it be okay if that was a young black boy like him and he was doing the exact same thing? I'm going to tell you, fuck no, because I know how the black community thinks. But it's okay when it's a young white boy. It's okay if it's a little white boy. That's okay, because see, that is all part of the mind control, and that is all part of this interracial agenda, and it's all part of the assimilation agenda, and it's also all part of the gay interracial agenda as well. See, they don't want black men showing affection towards one another, non-gay, non-homo affection. I'm not talking about that, because there was nothing in that picture between that little black boy and the little white boy, of course, that was sexual or anything gay. They were just two little kids, and one was showing another one support. I get that, and I'm not knocking that, but I'm looking at the symbolism behind it, and what the energy is, and what the message really is. And see, this is all part of that gay interracial agenda, and all part of the interracial agenda that continuously divides black people from each other. And that is what I am seeing. There was another point that I was getting ready to make, but it'll come back to me. Now, when Dylan Roof went into that church and shot all those people back in 2015, the reason it was so easy for a white boy, some strange white boy, to come into that black church and do what he did is because black people are blindsided when it comes to white people, especially white men. They think that they don't do any wrong. If I was to walk in that church, they probably would have been giving me the side eye. They probably would have been gritting on me, especially the black men in that church. I'm just saying. So when I look at that picture, a picture tells 1,000 stories. A picture tells us 1,000 stories. Now, most people are going to just say, oh, it's just what it is. It's two kids, whatever. But why do they always have to, parade or make public or make a big whoop to do about a young or any black man treating a white man nice or treating a white boy nice or doing something? Why do they always make a big whoop to do about that? The reason they do that is because there's an agenda behind what they're doing. And the little boys, the black little boy, his mother, she was the one posting this picture all around the internet saying, oh, I'm so proud of my son. I'm so proud of him. I bet you are. I bet you are. But here's a thought. Here's a thought. What if, what if when that little white boy grows up, what if when he grows up, and I'm not saying that this is going to happen, and I'm not trying to put this out into the universe to make it manifest or no shit like that, but I'm just saying, what if? Let me just be clear about that. What if that little white boy, what if he grows up to be a Dylan Roof and goes out and starts killing black people? Because Dylan Roof had a black friend, remember? We have to look at all of that. I'm looking at the symbolism. You're saying that you're so proud of your son, but would you be proud of your son if that was a little black boy whose hand he was holding instead of a white boy? Because let me reiterate, in the black community, that is unacceptable. And then we wonder why black men grow up hating each other and killing each other. Because black men are raised to be devoid of any emotion towards one another. I'm not talking about being gay or having homosexual sex. I'm talking about having respect and having compassion for people that look like you. But they don't post articles like that, of course, because they have an agenda that they are trying to propel. And it's working. It's working. This is why there's so much division between black men and black women, black men and black men, gay and straight. This is why there's so much division because of symbolism like that. That image of those two little boys, that is a powerful symbol. That is a powerful symbol. And from how I look at this is that you can't really look at this as an occultist and not say anything because you have black men, excuse me, that are still being brutalized by this institution of racism that we live under. And see, this all connects to that fucking love and light bullshit too, and all that kumbaya shit. That shit has gotten a lot of black people late. I remember there was a story that came out years ago, probably back in 2015 or 2014. There was a 17-year-old young black man that was dating a 30-year-old white woman in North or South Carolina, and he ended up being lynched. They never solved the case. You never heard anything else about it because he wanted to date a white woman. And I don't care anything in the South, in an area that, if I'm not mistaken, that is synonymous for a lot of racism. But he still wanted to take that risk and date this woman, and he ended up being lynched. And the racist police department down there, they said he committed suicide. And his mother and his family was like, but he wasn't suicidal. But that's the narrative that they wanted to fucking paint. But we're sitting up here applauding the symbolism of this black boy leading this little young white boy into the classroom. We're applauding the symbol, but we don't really understand what that symbol means. And the symbol is not a good meaning for black men. See, it all goes back to black men because they're trying to create a society where black men are subservient and humble and bowing their head to white men. There was an episode on Dynasty, the reboot of Dynasty, where the character of Sammy Joe, and I made an entire video about that. The character of Sammy Joe is a gay Hispanic male now. And in this one episode, there was this black man who was shining. Was he shining his shoes or giving him a pedicure? And see, black men, you're so busy. You're so busy worrying about getting your dick sucked. You're so worried about harassing gay black people, harassing and attacking black women, you can't even see the mind control that they have you motherfucking niggas up under, nor do you fucking care. And it's all right with me. I don't give a fuck either. I'm an occultist and I'm just letting you know what I know and what I see. That picture of that little black boy and that white boy, that is symbolic of all of that. A picture, what do they say? A picture is 1,000 words. Well, I say, I don't know the saying or the cliche, but I'm adding my own. A picture tells 1,000 fucking stories. And again, I'm not attacking the two little boys. I'm looking at the symbolism behind it. I'm looking at the symbolism that it's okay for young black boys to show affection to white boys. But in our culture, we know as black people, that is unacceptable for two young black boys to hold hands. That's unacceptable, and that's looked at as being gay. I remember my aunt was telling me, this was years ago, and it's the same aunt who went off on me when I lived with her. She was telling me a story that her and my other aunt, they were walking up the alley together with their arms around each other. They're sisters. And there were some bullying females out in the alley calling them lesbians and dykes. You see what I'm saying? Calling them lesbians and dykes. And suffices to say, my grandmother went out there and got all them motherfucking bitches together. She got all them bitches together. And they started running one by one. But that's the point that I'm making. Even when there's not any homosexuality there, we will say that, and that shit can manifest sometimes if you keep fucking saying it. That's what I'm saying. That picture is a symbol for the downfall of the black man. That picture is a symbol of the subservient, assimilated slave of a black man. That is what that picture is, a symbol of that. And it's backed up by years and years of historical context of black men being subservient to white men on all fucking levels. That is why white men are able to manipulate black men into doing sex acts with them a lot of times. See, a gay black person, we can't manipulate them niggas into doing sex acts with us, which I don't care to do anyway. I don't want to manipulate nobody into doing either. Somebody wants to be with me or they don't. You feel what I'm saying? I'm not into manipulating and violating people and trickery and deception. I'm not into that bullshit. That's what white gay men are into. Okay? That's what white gay men are into. They're into that. And a lot of times they can use forms of mind control, and shit like that to manipulate, quote unquote, some black men who normally don't have those tendencies into sexual acts. And one of the ways they do that is through these cuckold things. You know, white wife, white husband, and they want a black man to come into the bedroom so he can fuck the wife, but then he finds out later on, well, you got to fuck me too. That's that picture, that's symbolic of all of that. I know y'all gonna think I'm crazy, but that's okay. That's symbolism. That is symbolism of all of that. Because if you notice, they don't show pictures of young black men helping any other race. It's always a white person. It's always a white person. It's always a white person. So I just wanted to make a video about that because, like I said, this is what I do. I'm the occult view, and I look beyond the bullshit. And I know people think, well, it's a cute picture, it's just two kids, but no, it's more than that. It's more than just two kids. That's an agenda, interracial agenda, gay interracial agenda. That's all of that bullshit. That is why, again, there is so much division between black people. And see, one of the reasons, too, that there's a lot of division between black people is because some of the black people that are existing now, they are not of the original source. They are assimilated, fake, artificial energy. They are not of the original source. And that is why they don't identify with people like me or other black people like me, the 1%. That's why they don't identify with us. And that is why they can't really understand us because their energy is on such a lower vibration. And I'm talking to a lot of you black men. Remember what I said about DC: fake energy, fake weed, fake people, fake environment, fake every motherfucking thing. But I just wanted to come on here and I wanted to talk about that picture because it was fresh on my mind. And I wanted to just talk about that because it's all about the symbol and what that represents and what it really means. Seeing that little black boy taking that white boy's hand and leading him into the classroom. And then we have young black men growing up killing each other and hating each other because we're taught that any type of affection between two men that are black is a symbol of being gay or something perverted or something bad. But it's okay. It's okay for black men to show that type of affection to white men. That's okay. And then you niggas wonder why white men could just walk up to you and say and do whatever the fuck they want to do. You wonder why. Symbolism. That's what it's all about. This is Sia Grant, aka The Occult View, and that's all I have to say on the matter. I'll be back with another video. Thank you.